Okay. Yeah. And some people have slow starts. Some people, just want to share about the products and they're not very heavy on team building and bringing promoters in, and they just want to talk about the products, and that's okay. And, leadership is one of the hardest things, but also the most rewarding things that you could ever have to do this for a living is so fulfilling. And it's really just about your vulnerability and being a leader and knowing that everyone has a different pace, everyone has a different personality in your team, and you have to know how they learn. You have to get familiar with that personality specifically and pour into them differently than you would other leaders. Because, I know when Claudia comes to me, I'm going to pour into her differently than I would to my sister, or I would to Anissa, or I would to Courtney, right? Because we all have different ways of working our business. We're all in different seasons. And you have to meet them where they are, no matter if they tell you that they're excited and they're ready to run their business and they just kind of sit on the sidelines, right? You have to look at their actions and look at how they show up, not by going to their page, not by seeing when the last time they posted, but maybe ask them, hey, how are you showing up for your business? When's the last time you sent a sample? That's how you ask your leaders how they're showing up. I don't want you to micromanage and worry about if they're on Zooms or when the last time that posted was, because you're going to be spinning your wheels thinking that you can work their business for them. And you take that on, you take that weight on with you as you show up from the front, and it can hold you down when you look at their page and when you go try to micromanage. So I just ask, hey, when's the last time you sold a sample? When's the last time you did a live? What's your testimony? Do you know your 3-step testimony? Like, when's the last time you talked about that? And then their response from that question is how you know if they're showing up or not. And then you go from there, right? I just let people learn for themselves, right? We can't, I just think when we place expectations on people, when they say, hey, I am so excited for this business, I'm all in, I want to grow, I have all these goals and I'm so committed. They say those things to you and then you get excited, right? You have to keep your boundaries in that area and know, like, yes, I'm running alongside of you. We're going to do this. Like, December is the best month. Like, let's go, right? You're going to hype each other up, but it's knowing that you cannot expect them to do what they say. Like, I don't mean that in like any negative way, but you have to know that when you not expect it, don't expect that for those things to happen. Because if you're like, yes, she's ready to run, she's going to do this, and then in 2 weeks nothing's happening, you're gonna be blaming yourself. You're going to be thinking it's your fault and you're a bad leader, and now you are in a completely whole different mindset in your business and you can't show up to your full best self, right? So when we're excited and we're hyping each other up in the chat, it's the first of the month, and I'm going to go into these 3 topics with you guys. That's wonderful, but don't be so hard on yourself if they don't be so hard on yourself if they don't see the same vision as you, or they're not in alignment with where you're going at that moment. We are in different paths. We are in different seasons, different families, different whys, right? So your priorities are not going to be the same as someone else's. And that's how it is. People have holidays right now. People have different focuses right now. But some people in this industry are on their business like white on rice right now, because this is their livelihood. This is what brings their income in. Like myself, like, I am working my business very hard right now, but some people may be on the sidelines because of their season, because of where they are in their focus. And we can't blame people for that, right? So duplication of leadership, onboarding, and team building is what I want to share with you guys about tonight. And I'm going to go to last December when I earned 12K for the first time last December. And I became a 12K leader. I started micromanaging people. I started looking to see who was on Zooms. I started getting very manager mode, right? I was wondering why people weren't posting. Why were you, it's been a week since you posted, looking back to see when their last post was, looking at their stories, and maybe the products were on there. And then I would get very upset because they weren't showing up, right? That was me as soon as I became 12K. And I had to take a couple steps back, right? I messaged him angry, right? And I said, why are my leaders not doing the things, right? Why aren't they showing up on Zooms? And she put me in my place. That's what leaders do, right? They have those hard conversations. And she said, look, you are not their manager. You are not their boss. They started this business for time freedom, for financial freedom, because they want to retire their 9 to 5. They don't need you to supervise them. This is their business. It's their responsibility. You have to let go of what they're doing and put your blinders on and bring new people in who you can work with, right? Who trust you, who want to show up and share 3 steps. And the ones that aren't showing up, that doesn't mean to put them to the side and not work with them. Definitely stay connected, but know that their priorities and focus is somewhere else. And it's okay. It's okay, because guess what? If you are always building, you'll never have to rebuild. That I heard that from Courtney Glaser, and it still stands true today. So day one, you are a leader in this business. And these 3 things you should know is when you enroll a promoter and you are starting your onboarding process, guys, you don't want to send them the training schedule for the first day. You don't want to send them all the videos and tag them and everything and do everything, so overwhelm them and then push them away. A confused mind says no, right? That's going to confuse them. It's not right. So simplicity is number 1 in onboarding promoters, first and foremost. So a lot of us think if we haven't earned our VIPs or we haven't earned a rank advancement, that we're not capable of helping someone else do it. That's a limited belief around fear and around it's just a lack mindset that you cannot afford to have in this business because you didn't hit your VIPs. You're making that someone else's future. And that's selfish. That's not right. That's not fair on us, right? We are building a team. So the VIP 800 is the structure of our comp plan, and anyone is able to earn that. Anyone is. So if you're outside of your 14 days and you didn't earn it, you're still a leader. You're still here because of that why in your heart, and you are here to help others. So when you bring in a new promoter, you want to be confident in knowing that you're going to make sure that they're set up for success day one, even if you hit your bonus or not. Simplicity, number 1. So instead of teaching them everything about the cloud office, teaching them everything about the team page and videos, you want to lead them. Instead of teaching, you want to lead. You want to lead them by showing up on your page, working your business, sharing 3 steps, right? So how I do it, when I bring in a new promoter, I may wait 24 hours before I add them into our Rising Leaders chat. That's something that I've started to do. Or if they are running and they're blazing, like guns blazing, and they're ready to go, I'll just add them in and say, here, let's go, right? You have to see where their heart and where their fire is in the beginning once they get their pack, right? Promoter packs, they have to come in on a pack. They want to be a product of the product. They have to know the 3 steps. And once they do that, that's when the work happens. That's when the passion is there. That's when I think a lot of us kind of like sit down and we're like, okay, she's in the team page. They're good. Now I can relax for a minute. No, that's when you want to get to work. That's when you want to tell them, hey, this is what we're going to do for today, right? You may want to give them a task for the day, a post to put up every single day for the first 14 days. It's very important. They need to be in a posting they need to be in a posting routine, and getting leading with the products, right? The simplicity, 3 steps, talking about that every day. And realizing, okay, so 3 steps, I didn't really put too much in this topic part, but you guys know what simplicity is. You guys know what these 3 steps do for you. So help them figure out how to share about it for themselves, and then run with it. Make sure they're posting their oh shit list and go from there, right? I just told Cassandra, my newest leader, about IPAs today, and she's been here for 5 days, right? It's because you have to match where they are and what they're doing in their day-to-day, with their scheduling, with their children, with their lives, because we have to work this around that. So you're not going to be talking about IPAs if they're at work, right? If they're working that day, you want to talk about it later on, and no, she's going to learn as she earns, right? She's going to figure it out along the way and not give all the information up front. So match their efforts and where they are. Number 2 is accountability. So you cannot be afraid to have hard conversations with your leaders and other people and yourself. And what do I mean by that? You have to talk about ugly things sometimes. You have to be accountable for yourself and for your team sometimes, and let them know if they come to you with a problem, or if they come to you and it's kind of persistent with the same thing. It's like, hey, I haven't had anyone in my inbox. My inbox has been dry. They've been talking about this for a little bit. You need to hold them accountable and say, hey, what are we doing different than we did last time we talked about this? Right? You have to be willing to say that. You have to be willing to have that hard conversation and not be afraid to do it in a loving, graceful way, right? It's not like, you need to be doing this. No. What are we doing different? When's the last time we sold a sample? How are we showing up every day? Do we need to hop on a planning Zoom on Sunday, right? Do we need to go back into content planning? How does that work? We're paid problem solvers here, guys. There's a solution to everything in this business. And we find that with people together and being that example for them, right? Not complaining to your leaders, not saying negative things that don't align with your business to your team, to your leaders. Set that tone. And not being afraid, facing those fears and checking in with them every day for the first 30 days. So after those 30 days, the training wheels are off. Like it's the training wheels are off. I still check in from time to time, but I am not like one-on-one, like ready to go on Zooms all of the time, like still with them consistently, right? So after 30 days, you are their leader. You're still there to help them and lean on them, but you have to know when to draw the line, when to maybe refer them to the team page after you all have done a one-on-one with something, or you have covered something several times and you're like, hey, we talked about this before. Maybe you need to hear it from another leader so it can sink in a little different, right? And leave it at that, right? It's so simple, guys, with the team page and everything. It's still all there, but you want to have that human connection too, and don't lose that. Number 3 is being humble, open, and transparent. So I got that from Transformation Church from Mike Todd. I think it's amazing that the hot, right? Humble, open, transparent. It's one of the coolest things, because with your team, when you're transparent and when you talk to them about things that you're going through or about things in your business, they see that there's still new levels, new devils, right? That there are still things that are going to be coming your way, even as a 4K, 12K, 40K, like with what's happened this week when there's some issues in the team. Like, I was transparent about it. I wanted to be transparent. So if that happens in your downline, you can tell them, hey, this is how I'm handling it. This is what's going on. This is going to happen to you too. And we're going to get through this together, right? How are we going to move forward? What are we going to do today, right now, to move the needle in our business and not look back at the things we can't control, right? When you are also being okay with criticism and being okay with people judging you. You're in the spotlight, guys. You're on social media. People are watching, and that includes your team. So if there's an issue and someone says something to you out of line in your team that may criticize you, you have to be okay with that. You have to know that allows grace to come in and say, okay, like, that's your opinion. You're so entitled to that. Maybe I do need to work on that. I'm open to that judgment. Okay, let's see where I can fix that. Let's see where I can improve that, right? And not think that we have it together, because we're always evolving. We are always shifting and changing in our business as social media changes, as the seasons change, right? It's winter, it's cold. People are with their families. Business is looks different for all of us right now. Never having it figured out. And this just leaders are listeners. So simply knowing that when someone comes to you, just listen, let them vent, let them get it off their chest, and be that pounding board for them, that soundboard for them, and listen to where their heart is, and then say, okay, where can we solve this? Where can we move forward, right? I know a lot of us have leaders or have other promoters that may talk a lot about the problem, right? May talk a lot about what's not going right, what they are, all these roadblocks, right? And all these things they're running to in their business. You have to listen to that and then say, okay, where are we going to pivot? What are we changing? What do we need to change, right? Do we need to get on a Zoom and do IPAs together so we can grow your network a little more, right? Do we need to talk more about interactions and how to do that? What about your posts and your captions? How do your pictures look, right? You have to kind of just know that you're here to solve their problem. You're here to listen, and you're here to make sure that they know you're there for them and that we're going to work through this together, right? I wish I could see this chat. I don't know why these participants, I've closed it out 100 times. Okay, there it goes. Let me see what you guys are saying. Just any questions? Oh, Courtney, it happened to you recently. I always like to see what y'all are talking about. Yeah, like, absolutely. I mean, man, even if it's not even anything to do with the business, you're their friend and you're also their leader. And guess what? You draw the line. You have to draw that line between what that looks like. So I'll give you an example of a promoter who came to me with a lot of her family issues, a lot of her recovery issues. She's no longer here, but there were some things that she'd come to me on and just pile and pile and pile on. And I was like, okay, look, like, I am your friend. I am here to listen and to help you through this. And this is terrible. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be praying for you. And I mean that, right? But we have to move forward and know where this business is taking us. Know that the life that we're creating because of this vehicle is going to be the solution to our problems, right? Whether it's 2 years or 5 years, you have to remind them of what they started for, why they started, of where this can take them, and drop that seed of possibility in their heart. And if they're not ready, they're not ready. If they don't, they continue to do that, I leave it, right? I just don't respond. I like to set those boundaries. So that's old T-Rex. Lincoln's dinosaur. On this, I heard this quote tonight. So if you do not know Bob Helig, your virtual upline, I haven't heard his podcast in like 2 months, and I went back to listen to some episodes recently. Listen to some of those episodes to help you with recruiting and building your promoters. And he said, leaders help people be successful. They don't make them successful. Now, I want to say that again. Leaders help people be successful. They don't make them be successful. You cannot motivate and you cannot make people do things. You can't. Motivation is fleeting and it goes away. It's more than that. It's a vision and it's a why. So when your promoters are having that hard day, remind them of that vision, of that why, right? Empower them. Bring positivity to their energy, to their life, and not think that you are someone's responsibility, right? We are not here to do things for people all the time, guys. You have to know where that line is. We are definitely giving. I definitely want you to give. I definitely want you to do fun giveaways and incentives and placements at the end of the month when your leaders are running and you're so close to their bonus, right? Placement can be icky sometimes, but we do not make people successful. That's not what a leader does. And some people don't see it that way. And that's their own growing to do, right? There's a solution to everything. So when I run into these problems in my business, if an auto ship ran, for an example, and it shouldn't have run, that hasn't happened in a while because I've been very on it lately, my retention and being intentional with those auto ships because of that reason that had to happen for me to get to that place. But I don't look at it as a negative. I don't look at it as like, man, I'm not made for this, right? Man, this didn't work out. This isn't going to work out, right? I have to pivot. and I let them know, hey, I'm so sorry that auto ship ran. I can send you over some credits next month to reimburse you for it. Or sometimes I've even bought the products off of that person if I have the money to do it. Now, don't go do that if you don't have the money, but sometimes I'll send them Venmo and they'll mail it to me. But I find a solution and say, hey, I'll send you credits, or hey, I'm so sorry this happened. Maybe we can contact support, because usually they do not honor auto ship customers, and it's a one and done. Like, you can't refund auto ship orders. So sadly, that's just how it works. And this won't happen again. I deleted your auto ship and we'll move forward. And maybe I can ask some of the girls in the chat if they need products. I've done that before. And some people will take the products off of their hands, or they can just use it and it's fine. So it's just about that content, your conversation, and knowing that it's not the end of the world and you will get through that. Yeah, instant, yes, instant gratification. So that's something that I'm learning too with what's happened this last week. A lot of people are thinking they should be at a different rank, or they should be promoting quicker or faster because of certain situations. You're in control of that. You are in control of who you bring into your business, of how you show up every day in your paycheck. Guys, I do not want you to ever think when you get, to a level that your team makes your paycheck. Yes, it's a beautiful thing. Yes, we're like uni level comp plan and we get paid on 6 levels and it's amazing. But you have to be putting in the work every day to enroll and enroll and enroll. That's where you see your paycheck rise, through those, your own personal enrollments, your own QV, your own PV, things you're doing in your business every day. It's not your team. And I think that's so important that we see it from a different lens and not think that your teams are writing those paychecks, because it's up to you. It's up to you. I have y'all in here. Y'all probably made more than me last week. Like, I am telling you, the rank doesn't matter and your team does not write it. It's you. It is you who writes your paycheck. It's so true, because the rank just shows a badge. That's all that a rank is. It is not who you are, your grit, your determination in this business. That's not what that's attached to. It's not at all. Or your heart in this business. You could be a badass leader and a brand promoter and constantly be enrolling customers and loving the products and being there. And you don't have a team, but you're on fire for these 3 steps and your paycheck is popping. And it could be more than a 40K, I promise. It's you writing that paycheck. It's you. So don't be afraid to have those hard combos, and don't micromanage. So those were just some 3 things that I wanted to touch on, and hopefully kind of give you a better perspective of leading your team. And yeah, so I guess that's the end of my notes. If you guys have any questions, if you want to unmute, anybody wants to talk about their experience and what they learned, go for it. Go for it. I'd love to hear from you guys. Nobody want to talk?
Well, I know when you were talking about having those hard conversations, I actually had one of my girls like relay some things from my team that they were taking completely out of, I guess I was making them feel away. And yes, it hurt to hear that 100%, but it just gave you that self-awareness of like, okay, I may be coming off like this, so I need to not come off like that. Sometimes it's too red, or they're more blue or green, or you know what I mean? Like, you're just trying to learn everybody's personality traits or how they learn, or sometimes you can joke with one person and then another person you can't. Like, that's not. So it was really eye-opening to me that I was like, wow, I did not know I was coming off that way. But it really like humbled you and made you realize like, okay, maybe next time, like, take a step back and make it more vague for everybody, or you know what I mean, like where it's not just pointed at one person or one color, or you know what I mean.
Oh, I love that, Courtney. Yeah, like it's not something we do intentionally ever. It's just us being ourselves, and sometimes we say things and don't even realize that it hurts someone. So for someone to come to you and say, hey, that was a little too red, or maybe that just made me feel a certain way, okay, next time we'll reword it differently. We'll say things a different way. And if that wouldn't have happened to you and no one came to you about it and you found that awareness, you would have never known. That is how we learn. That is how we fail forward. That is how we're developing in our leadership, is when those things happen. Just like this past week with Gladys walking away, like, I'm just going to say it. I'm on a recording and I don't care. We know that's happened. And I learned from it, right? I had to see that was happening and hear her out and why she was hurting and learn from it and see what I needed to do, right? And not be afraid, right? Not be afraid of things that may hit your pride a little bit, because it will happen the more that your team grows. People will come to you for things and you're like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. I'd have never thought that. And you have to know how to handle that and walk through that and be a leader and not run from it with your tail between your legs, right? And know that you're bold. You're going to move confidently with this situation. And guys, I ask for help, right? I reach up. I reach to Em, I reach to Katie, I reach to 200K leaders that I'm in the back pocket of. So when you have that problem, maybe go to another leader if you can't really face it and say, hey, what do I do in this situation? Another leader who may have experienced that before, because leaders ask for help. Leaders don't take it all on and think that you'll get weighed down again eventually. So ask for that help. Do not be afraid to reach up. And that's just what you do as a leader, is, never think you've arrived. Never. So I hope this was helpful. I'm going to quit recording. Let's see.